Hello, and nice to meet you. I'm the Director of Player Personnel for the Utah Jazz. My scouts have expressed a lot of interest in you. Before I can give my blessing to use our draft pick on you, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, to make sure you'd fit in with what we do here. I really think the first piece to getting this franchise back on track is to find and develop our point guard of the future. The point is the one position that can really make or break a team and change the overall direction of the franchise. Looking back at the Hornets, look at what Chris Paul did for that team. We want a point guard who will do the same for us, and we think you might be that guy. Convince us of that.
Honestly, that's a lot of pressure, but something we all dream about when we're kids, Everyone wants their own team. Do I want this to be my team? Of course I do. I just don't know if I'm ready to handle that kind of responsibility right out of the gate. If the organization's willing to grow with me, to go through those struggles together, it'd be the greatest honor for me to represent this organization as its cornerstone.
All right then, one more. We realize that here in Utah, we don't have the appeal of a Los Angeles or a New York or Chicago. We tend to look for players who would be proud to be part of this organization, someone who can really take pride in being a member of the Utah Jazz, someone who's willing to spend their entire career as a member of the Utah Jazz. Are you that person?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm still so young. I haven't played a single minute in the NBA yet, so I don't feel that I can tell you, at least with any certainty, that I'm going to play my entire NBA career for one team.
Okay, good stuff. We'll be in touch if we have any other questions.
Nice job out there tonight. Your play really impressed us, so much so that we're considering using our pick on you if you're available when our turn comes up. Before we get that far, we'd really like to ask you a couple of questions. Question number one. I feel like we have our point guard of the future in Brandon Jennings, but I would be remiss to not look at all available options in the draft. How do you think you compare to Brandon?
I think Brandon's a good player, but I think I'm a much more complete player. If you draft me, you'll be moving your franchise forward a number of years. He still has good trade value, and I really think you'd be able to bring in another solid piece to build around if you draft me.
Okay, last question. Talk about what you have to improve on as you make the jump to the next level. We'd like to see what you think about your game as a whole.
My offensive game is still developing. I like to call it a work in progress, I need to continue taking smart shots, basically take what's given to me. I think I'm coming into this league severely underrated, and I plan on using that to my advantage.
Okay then, I think we got what we needed. Appreciate you taking the time to meet with us.
Nice job out there tonight. Your play really impressed us, so much so that we're considering using our pick on you if you're available when our turn comes up. Before we get that far, we'd really like to ask you a couple of questions. Question number one. As a point guard, we really feel like we can offer you something amazing, something no other team in the NBA can offer. With Steve Nash's career winding down, you have the chance to play behind and learn from one of the greatest point guards to ever put on a uniform. Once Steve decides to hang it up and you've learned everything you can from him, the starting point guard spot is yours. How can you say no to that?
No disrespect at all to Nash. The man is a living legend, but I want to make my own tracks in this league and not follow someone like him. I just don't have any interest in living in the shadow of Steve Nash. I hope you know it's nothing personal, man.
Next question. As a whole, the Suns have kept the same core for the better part of a decade. We found a winning formula and stuck by it, just rotating in supporting pieces where necessary. As I'm sure you've seen over the last year or so, we're in the midst of overhauling our roster. We really love the idea of you being a part of that process. What do you think about being a centerpiece for the new Phoenix Suns?
That's a tough decision. On one hand, this is the in-between period where there are going to be some hard times. On the other hand, there is a light at the end of the tunnel where the talent all comes together and good things happen. The question is, do I want to spend the first part of my career on a struggling team? I don't know the answer to that.
Well, that didn't go quite as I expected. We'll see you at the draft.